Hello and a very warm welcome to MotoGP Fantasy ahead of round 2 of the 2024 MotoGP World Championship. And this weekend it's an absolute special one. It's in Portugal at the Gran Premio Tiso do Portugal, the roller coaster in Portimao, as it is very well known. And it's one of the absolute modern classics of recent years, and we cannot wait to get started. But before we do, we have a great guest on the show for you here today ahead of round number 2. Now, you might remember him from competing in Grand Prix racing in the mid 2000s. Started off in 125s, 250s on a privateer machine, then moved over to the States, also won the Daytona 200 back in 2008, then became World Supersport Champion in 2011, and then went on to win 32 World Superbike races. Many times second in the championship, but also one of the greatest that the sport had seen at the time. I'm very pleased to welcome a certain Mr. Chaz Davies to the show. Chaz, a
Hey.
very warm welcome to you. How are you doing? Looking absolutely splendid sitting over there in Portugal at the moment.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Liam. Yeah, looking forward to the weekend in Portugal. We've actually got a few sessions on track today with MotoE, so just a little warm up pre-weekend, and then we get down to business tomorrow. So no, it's really nice to be here. It's great to be in the GP paddock, and can't wait to get started.
Yeah, it's been a little while since you've been in the GP paddock. 2007, you were raiding for the Dantine Ducati as a replacement rider for Alex Hoffman. How has the paddock changed since you were last full-time rider here?
Yeah, I mean, it's day and night compared to, well, that was 17 years ago. But even, when I was here as a permanent fixture, say in 2002 was my first season, right through to 2005, 2006. The paddock now is completely unrecognizable. It's very professional these days. The size of the hospitality, I think, has grown tenfold. But no, it's very impressive. There's, the level here in MotoGP of every detail is exceptional. And obviously the show's there to back it up as well. So no, that's what I say. It's a pleasure to be here. It's very nice to be part of this paddock once again, with the MotoE and the Aruba Cloud Racing team. And yeah, can't wait to get started.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to seeing you back on track. It's been a couple of years since you've been competing at world level. You've done the Endurance World Championship last year, but yeah, this year is your first time back since 2021. What made you decide to come back? Was it talking to the team, or was it a decision within yourself?
Yeah, a little bit of both, really. I've dabbled when I retired from World Superbike. I was quite kind of careful to say this is a retirement from World Superbike, not and not exclude all my options for the future. You never know if Gigi Dall'Igna might come knocking, for that factory factory Lenovo Ducati. But unfortunately, that one never happened. But no, it's been a couple of years kind of on the sidelines. I tested the Moto e-bike a couple of years ago. I've done endurance racing. I've just dabbled. I've done things that I want to do and that I feel like I enjoy, and it's been true. I mean, I really enjoyed the days developing the V21L, which is the name of the Moto e-bike, Ducati, and enjoyed my time riding endurance. And that itch is still there to scratch a little bit. I love riding motorcycles. That will never ever change. Do I feel the need to compete? Not necessarily, but as circumstances have come about, given that how much I enjoyed riding the Ducati Moto e-bike and working with the Aruba team in World Superbike, they really wanted to enter the Moto E Championship, and it was quite an obvious starting point for me, as that, like I said, that itch was still there to scratch, and for them as a starting point to get into this championship, that we found an agreement together, and here we are. I have such a long and sort of successful relationship with the guys at the Aruba Ducati Superbike team that it was almost a natural occurrence that we're here and yeah, ready to go racing again together.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to it. I believe this is your 10th year working with Aruba. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, this will be the 10th anniversary. I mean, time flies. It's crazy to hear that, but yeah, 10 years together.
It's a perfect anniversary to get some race wins and potentially a challenge for the Moto E title this year. Is that your plan, or is it just building race by race?
Yeah, as always, you aspire to be the best, to do your best. But the competition's strong, and although I'm very experienced across a lot of different categories, I've also got a lot to learn here. I'm under no illusions of this is not going to be a very simple, walk up and disappear into the distance. There's a lot for me to get my head around. Obviously, these bikes are different. Racing them at full, 10/10 race pace is different to testing a bike. The Michelin tires, again, are something that I don't have experience with. So all these factors, they add up. And obviously, it just takes a little bit of time to get the head around. But obviously, the aspirations are there to do basically what I've done for the last 15 years. Push my way up towards the front of whichever sort of category we've competed in, and yeah, hopefully we can get there in MotoE as well.
Well, yeah, time certainly does fly, and well, we certainly expect you to be near the front and fighting for some top positions. No pressure at all, though. No
No
pressure
pressure, right?
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now we'll come back to a little bit of chat about MotoE in a little bit. What we'll talk about why you're really here, and that is to play some MotoGP fantasy to pick the team ahead of round two. And I believe that you've been playing a little bit of MotoGP fantasy as of this year.
Yeah, exactly. Well, with the Aruba team, we actually have a group, a WhatsApp group, and this year is my first entry into the MotoGP Fantasy, so this is great timing. I picked my team for Qatar. Can't say I did the best. It doesn't look too bad. I kind of went with consistency rather than prize fighters bringing home the 25 points, but I'm not sure if the strategy was the right one. So actually, I'm hoping you might be able to give me a little bit of inside trading tips.
I mean, I don't know about that. I've not done too fantastically myself as of round number one. I always think I've got it spot on, but then something happens during the race weekend and it just all goes downhill from there. So yeah, I will do my absolute best, Chaz. But maybe we'll get it absolutely spot on this weekend. So we have the team here. It was picked by Tony Arbolino last weekend ahead of the Qatar GP. Now we have two trades remaining, as we do every single weekend. The remaining salary, 100,000. And, well, Tony went ahead and used a boost a couple of weeks ago. Now, will this be something that you would like to do today, or do you think maybe you'll leave it for somebody else a little bit down the line?
Oof, as an early season boost, isn't it? He's gone in strong there.
He really
Um,
has done.
to be honest, if this team was for myself, I'd be like leaving that boost for till we get to like Marquez at Texas or something like that. But yeah, as we're here and this is a rolling team, then why not spend the boost before somebody else does?
Well, I think we've got a couple of good riders. Some that have got some pedigree around Portimao. Fabio Quartararo, two-time winner. Jorge Martin, well, he's got some form, especially recently in the sprint. 10-time sprint winner, can you? I still can't believe that myself. Aleix Espargaro, he's shown some good form. The Aprilia with Maverick Vinales was on the podium here last year. And then the wonder kid, Pedro Acosta. First track that he's come to on a MotoGP bike, he's not tested at, so not sure whether it'll translate over. But how are you thinking about this team? Do you want to stick with it, or would you like to make a couple of changes?
Definitely think we'll make some changes there. Solid team, absolutely can't argue with that. It's gone for, I think having Martin in the ranks here for Portimao is a very strong option, and he'll be looking as well to bounce back. I think from Qatar, that early strike from Pecco there to pass him down at turn 4. I think that he'll learn from that and want that clean air, to keep his front tire temperature and pressure under control. So I think that Martin will be very fired up for this weekend. So I think we'll leave him in. Aleix, how's his track record here?
I mean, he's done well the last couple of years. He's been in the mix. Him and Maverick had a bit of a battle last year in the Tissot Sprint, and then again in the race, but he dropped back. However, the Aprilia has been showing very strongly around Portimao in the last couple of seasons. Maverick, as I said, on the podium last year, and Aleix started this year quite well, didn't he? He's fourth in the sprint in Qatar, just dropped back in the race due to some problem, we believe. But yeah, it can be a wild card, can Aleix. It can be good one year, then not so good the next. So you can never really tell with Aleix.
Also with the bike, you sort of see it, don't you? Sometimes it rolls out of the box and it's phenomenal, and then other times it just looks like they have to work to even get that top 5. But yeah, probably I would look to change Aleix around here, but obviously we've got to be conscious of the budget. We don't want to be spending too much. Obviously we've got to
Indeed.
a pricey rider there in Jorge Martin. I feel like Pedro's undervalued, but obviously it's for good reason. He being a rookie, but obviously he's Pedro Acosta, but he's a good steal. I actually have him in my team. I feel like at 1.8 million, he's a good buy.
I'm the same. I've got him in my
Fabio,
team as well.
yeah, you do.
Yeah. Keep him in the team. He'll come good at some point.
Yeah. Fabio's difficult to say, isn't it? The Yamaha, it's not been a great start to the season for them. Portimao, there's no severely long straights here, but it's not just about that, is it? I think it's the whole package combined. So I probably bookend there with Jorge on the one side and Pedro on the other, and look to switch out the middle guys and then have a look at the team and constructor.
Perfect. So you want to take out Aleix and Fabio, or would you like to leave one of them in and maybe change the constructor and the team? Remember, we've only got two.
Oh, it's two trades, isn't it?
Two trades, yes. So it's not as much as we would like, but still better than a couple of years ago when we all had one per weekend. So yeah, what are you thinking, Chaz? Are we taking Aleix and Fabio out, or are we leaving one of them in? And
okay, let's leave Aleix in. Let's give him the opportunity. Don't let me down, Aleix. We'll take Fabio out. And what budget are we working with? We've got 2.7.
2.7 million. So let's scroll down. Let's see who we can afford. So we can afford Alex Marquez. He's got good pedigree around this circuit. His first year on the Honda done pretty well. Challenging for the podium against Jack Miller in 2021, the Algarve GP, before it was red flagged. Showed good form last year, 5th place on his Ducati debut. So he might be a good pick for this weekend.
When you reel off the stats like that, it's good. It's a good shout. So 2.4, and we've got 2.7. So yeah, that's
2.7. Digia, he's shown good form at the start of the year. Mir and the Honda, 2 mil. Zarco a little bit more expensive. Rins 2.2 as well. Frankie, now he's a rider that is a complete wild card at the moment, isn't he? 1.7 million. He hasn't done any winter testing. Qatar was his first time on the bike, and his race pace showed quite well. And he's got some good form around Portimao as well. Podium back in 2020, just missed out a year later. So maybe as a wild card, Frankie could be a good option.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a bit too early for Frankie. I really trust in him a lot and believe in him. He's a fantastic rider, but obviously he's come off the back of a pretty serious knock to the head and wisely sat out on the sidelines through his winter. So a little bit too early. Maybe given a few more races, I would slide him in there. But yeah, maybe not. Maverick might not be too bad of a shout. 2.3, yeah, podium. Raul, he's Jack, 2.3. He was strong here last year, wasn't he?
He was, yes, in the podium battle for a number of laps in the main race and the Tiso Sprint featuring at the front as well. So, yeah, Jack likes this circuit. He was also in podium contention 2 years ago before he tucked the front at turn 1, taking out an unfortunate Joan Mir. Podium back in 2020 in the battle with Frankie Morbidelli. So, yeah, Jack has good pedigree around Portimao, so he could be a good option. Home hero, Miguel Oliveira. He'll be able to prove a few people wrong on the RS 24, wouldn't he? So, yeah, some good riders. I'm not sure who to pick myself, to be honest.
Let's go with Miguel. Let's go with the home hero. Yeah.
Miguel.
Yeah.
I think that's a good shout, to be honest. Yeah, Miguel Oliveira.
I think he's going to have a breakthrough this weekend. I think it's his time. Home GP does a lot of laps around here, obviously. So I think it leaves us a bit of money as well, where we can maybe switch out either the constructor or the team. But I think Miguel will be a pretty solid choice in there. Yeah, now he's got enough time on the bike. Hopefully he can figure things out this weekend. And he was strong here last year until I think he got taken out by Mark, didn't he, in the sprint. Was it the sprint or the main?
It was he was in contention he was on the podium until the final lap in the sprint and then ran off at turn 11 and then, wiped out by Mark in the race. So, yeah, he's got a bit to prove this year, this weekend. They're bouncing back from that disappointment. So, yeah, I think Miguel's a good choice, to be honest. And, yeah, so are we keeping the team as is, or are we changing the constructor or the team?
Let's change. Let's go with see if we've got some budget to buy either a Ducati team or constructor. How much is Ducati as a constructor?
Ducati as a constructor is 3.4 million, so we're just about $3,000 off that, unfortunately. But KTM, you have Pedro in the team, or Pedro in the KTM or the gas, but as we know, it's still a KTM. 2.6. So that could be a good option there. And in
Not a
terms of
bad shout.
teams,
I think I want to go with Ducati team, maybe. I think we'll go with a
Ducati
team if we can
team.
afford it.
Uh,
Pricey.
Very pricey, yes. I think we'll miss out by 3 grand again for the Ducati team. However, maybe Grassini would be a good option. Maybe Pramac.
I think Grassini probably is a good shout. It's not using all the budget, but that's all right. Doesn't matter. I think we'll go. Yeah, let's go with Grassini. I think the
Grassini.
Marquez boys are going to have a solid weekend.
Yeah, both Marquez are very good around here. So let's confirm that trade. So, your team, Gold Raiders, Jorge Martin, Alessio Spargaro, Miguel Oliveira, Pedro Costa and Silver, and the new team is Grassini. Now, would you like to switch Miguel or Pedro from silver to gold, or leave them in place where they are?
No, leave it like that. Happy with
Leave it
that.
as. Nice,
Yeah,
nice. I think that's a very strong team for the weekend. Now, the one final question, Chaz. We did speak about it a little bit earlier. Do you want to use up one of the boosts, or shall we
absolutely. Let's
leave
go all in on Jorge Martin.
Jorge Martin for the boost? There we go. Boosted Jorge Martin. Just missed out in the sprint win last year, but as we know, he's a devil in the sprint at the moment. So I can imagine that he'll be chasing win number 11 in the sprint and potentially the race as well. So yeah, there is our team. MotoGP Fantasy for Portimao. One of the best teams. I think I can agree with you on that one, Chaz. Probably better than what I would actually pick this weekend. So yeah, we can go
We'll
with that.
find out in a few days.
We will indeed. Now, let's go back to this weekend and the fact that you are making your Moto E debut in Portugal and Portimao. Now, I don't know if you know this, but you have quite an affiliation with Portugal. Now, you got your first ever Grand Prix points in Estoril in 2002 in the 125s. Then
Disgustingly wet.
I remember that race, watching that, and I thought I was an aspiring rider at that time. I thought I would never want to be out there. It was
You made a good choice.
thought I'd go into maybe doing this instead, which is sitting in a nice warm studio makes it a lot better. But yeah, in Portimao, 2011, it was your final win in the World Super Sport class. The year you became champion as well. Your final World Superbike win in Estoril in 2020, and your final podium as well in 2021. And you make your Moto E debut in Portimao. You could become an honorary Portuguese if you really wanted to.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Actually, I didn't know a lot of that. Obviously, I've never put it together. Obviously, I knew it, but I've never actually made the connection with Portugal. I love Portugal. I'm actually a huge fan of this area. I think it's a beautiful place to have a racetrack. The circuit here is spectacular. It's for me, in my opinion, it's one of the best in the world. You know, up there with your Mugellos. The character of this place, that it's so technical as a rider as well. It's so difficult. On any bike, but particularly on a MotoGP bike, it's extremely technical. One corner leads into the next, so half a meter offline is going to cost you dearly. So very difficult in that regard, but also a beautiful place to have a racetrack down here in the Algarve. Weather's usually pretty decent, and yeah, we're hoping for a good, solid, sunny weekend.
Yeah, you never know with the Algarve. The weather can roll in sometimes unexpectedly, but as you were saying, brilliant circuit. The roller coaster, as it is nicknamed now, and on a Moto E bike, how is it? How is it to ride? How enjoyable is Portimao? Because you've done some testing here a little bit earlier on in the year, and you actually have some testing today. So don't want to keep you too long, so you can get out on track.
Yeah, exactly. We've tested here a few weeks ago. We were a little bit unlucky with the weather. We did actually have half our sessions wet, and obviously half the track time in Moto E is quite a lot, because in the end the sessions are just 15 minutes. But it's really nice. Like the bike is really, really good fun to ride. It's very well designed. The guys at Ducati know what they're doing. The balance, the weight balance, and everything with this bike is what you would expect from a racing bike. Obviously, you have got the 225 kilos, but they've done a good job in balancing that out. It's not like the front end's overloaded and they're or the opposite, the rear end. It's a very balanced package. The electronics are nice. There's a full electronics package with it, so we get to play in that area, which is nice. But enjoying riding the bike and racing it. Usually race bikes at the actual absolute limit are not that enjoyable. So I think I have to make the bike a bit less enjoyable and start pushing on the limit a little bit more. The style, I think, to ride this bike is a little bit more akin to, say, like a Moto 3, Moto 2 style, where it's a lot of trust through the middle of the corner, big corner speed. And the grip of the Michelins is there to do that as well. So that's going to be a little bit of a reprogram in the brain for me, where I'm used to sort of a little bit more, say, V style rather than kind of rounding the corners as you would on the smaller bikes. So there's a lot of work that I have to do to try and undo some bad habits. 15 years with a different tire manufacturer and very different bike altogether, but it'll come. Looking forward to accepting the challenge. That's why I'm here, and yeah, trying to figure my way to do my best and with this package.
It's going to be a fascinating season to watch you progress as the year goes on, and also the MotoE grid now is just so stacked with talent. And it was quite interesting. I was scrolling through Instagram yesterday and I saw a picture of yourself in the Movistar Junior Cup. I think it was 2001, alongside Leon Camier and Casey Stoner, who have become good friends of yours, Julian Simon. But there was a rider that I didn't even know was part of the Movistar Junior Cup, which was Jordi Torres. Now, how is that sort of, I wouldn't say a rivalry, but how has that progressed over the years? Because you've raced against him in World Superbikes as well. Do you reminisce about those times, or did you just forget about it until now?
No, definitely reminisce a bit. So we actually caught up here a few weeks ago. Obviously, myself and Geordie have crossed paths after he finished in Moto 2, came across the Superbike, and our paths have crossed, not that often, but we are 22 years later, we are sort of back together on track. And it's actually it's a nice story, actually, because Geordie was probably one of the less experienced riders at that time. We had joined, we had a little bit of experience through British Championship. We hadn't done anything in Spain, but myself, Casey, Leon, some of the other riders had a little bit of a bit of time on a 125 GP bike. But Geordie really hadn't, and he would sort of turn up and he was way off the pace. He was, probably the least experienced of the group. And he was always, at that time, there was about, I think, 60 to 80 riders vying for a position in the main race. So there was always two groups and a qualifying race. And Geordie would always, basically wouldn't make the main race, but he was always in the qualifying race. And he went from being at the back of the qualifying race at the beginning of the season to the front of the qualifying race. So his progression, is something that we've all seen, right through to being a Moto 2 race winner, to being a World Superbike race winner, and now we're together again. So there's a lot of good talent in the Moto E field. Some of those guys haven't maybe had the breaks and whatnot, but there's a lot of fast guys in there, and they're all cool too. So that's nice. I think everybody here is really cool. There were a lot of them I don't know, but everybody seems sound. So we'll for sure we'll all get the elbows out when it comes time. But apart from that, I think we'll have a fun year.
Yeah, I'm sure we will indeed. The racing's always great in MotoE. You know how to get your elbows out from your days in World Superbike. And we look forward to watching you all season. And, well, we hope for some of those scraps with Jordi Torres up the front as well. Chaz, it's been an absolute pleasure. I don't want to keep you any longer because I know you need to get out on circuit very soon for a couple of test sessions. Hopefully the weather gets a little bit better over there. But yeah, once again, massive pleasure and all the best to you this weekend and for the rest of the year.
Thanks very much. Yeah, thanks for having me. Much appreciated. Cheers.
Take care, Chaz.
Cheers. Take care.
Well, there you have it. Chaz Davies, 32-time World Superbike winner and 2011 World Supersport champion, back racing this season in MotoE. And here he has picked his team for you as well. Jorge Martin and Aleix Espargaro, two good friends in the gold team. And he's boosted Jorge Martin as well. Miguel Oliveira, the home hero. He was the first winner in the MotoGP class round Portimao. Can he do it again this weekend? And the brilliant Pedro Acosta, the rookie who had a sensational Qatar, he has stayed in the team as well, along with Aprilia as our constructor and Gresini with Alex and Marc Marquez. Both are very good around this circuit, and Marc will be looking to take his first podium with the Gresini Ducati team this weekend. Can he do it? Well, make sure you're following MotoGP across all the social channels as well, and of course on MotoGP.com. And just remember, if you haven't signed up to MotoGP Fantasy just yet, you can still do so, and you can win some weekly prizes. Now, we've got some fantastic prizes for you. Now, for the season competition prizes, if you win it come the end of the year, you get a signed replica helmet by our double MotoGP world champion, Pecco Bagnaia. Second place, you will win a PlayStation 5 and the MotoGP 24 video game, which will be coming out very soon as well. And the game looks fantastic, so make sure you're playing for winning that. And also a Tissot T-Race MotoGP limited edition watch. Fantastic watches. I know a few of my colleagues have got a couple and they absolutely love them. Now, if you want to sign up for MotoGP Fantasy this weekend, we have weekly competition prizes, and this is an absolute blockbuster one. You can win 2 MotoGP tickets for any GP of your choice. Now, remember, it's not just related to anyone around the world. It can be one of your choice. So make sure you sign up to MotoGP Fantasy. Now, we look forward to round number 2 of the 2024 MotoGP World Championship. We will be back with MotoGP Fantasy for the next round in Kota in a couple of weeks' time. And I'm going to leave you with Chaz's pick of the MotoGP Fantasy team for this weekend.